but add line items talking about, well, then if they're going to homeschool, they have to use this curriculum. And so you take a great concept.
Yep.
And
you mean like the telescope that was going around for a while?
What was that? Which one was that?
So that was what sort of what you said. Kids can come and be involved in
It is 6:53. I hereby call this council meeting for January 16th, 2024 order. The regular reflect the following council members are present: Councilmember Yarborough, Councilmember Rodriguez, Councilmember Mize, Councilmember Cornelison, Councilmember Pappenfuss, Mayor Laker. Let the record show per section 22.039 of the government code, a quorum has been established for this meeting. This time, Pastor Collette from the First Baptist Church will have an invitation, and then we'll have a pledge of allegiance. Please stand.
Father in heaven, God, we just thank you for your love, your grace, and your mercy. Lord, may your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Lord, we recognize that you're sovereign over all things, for you created it all things that were made, seen and unseen, and Lord, all persons on the face of the earth. So we come up under your leadership. We come up under your direction and your guidance, and that's what we pray for today. Father, for your word says, many are the plans that are made in the hearts of men and women, but ultimately you're the one that directs their path. And so that, Lord, that's what we're praying for, that you will lead us and guide us. Father, I come before you with thanksgiving for these that you've given us to lead, for our mayor and our other elected councilmen and women. And Father, also for our police chief, our fire chief, and all these other leaders in all these different ministries. And Lord, that's how we see them. Though many are paid, it's really a ministry to the people. And so, Father, we are so thankful for them. We're so thankful for the time that they give, and especially for those who first respond, those who lay their lives on the line every day. And Lord, those that are committed by their own oath to serve, whether they're on the clock or off the clock, to protect the public. We thank you for them. For Lord, your word does tell us also to make prayers and petitions and intercessions for all men and women, but also for kings and all of those that are in authority over us, that we might lead peaceful lives that are marked by holiness and godliness. And so, Father, to that end, I pray that every person here, as they deal with one another, as questions are asked and answers are given, Lord, that spirit of humility and servanthood would pervade the space. And Lord, that each person would treat the other the way they want to be treated, with dignity and respect. And Father, all of those who are citizens at large in this meeting that come to make suggestions or questions, whatever it is, Lord, that the same kind of dignity and respect will come from them that's being offered to them. Father, I pray that if any student in this Godley ISD, of the 2,800 students that are in it, if any of them were at this meeting, that they would see a good example of what it means to work together and to be a good example of what it means to work together. Now, Heavenly Father, in closing, I just pray that the good of the people of Godley, Texas will be the guiding force of everything that's done and said here. We pray in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now move into public input. First one signed up is Jason Gordon.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, staff. It's been a while since I've been up here. A lot of emotions tonight. A lot of emotions. I'm trying to make it through this because there's a personal connection. As I look across the room and see a couple of individuals that I used to consider friends, colleagues, and even one of them being nearly a best friend, it brings me absolutely no pleasure to be here tonight. However, I do feel compelled to come and ask that you allow me to speak with you about the executive session portion of the agenda in executive session outside the premises in presence of Sergeant Cantrell, our Chief Cantrell. As many in this room know, a set of recordings were released to the public over the last week or so, and some of these recordings have caused me great personal concern for myself. One of those recordings, the Chief of Police advocates for my suicide. Another recording, the Sergeant and others stated they didn't care what happened to me or my family. It's my fear, with these feelings and beliefs that run through this police department, that in the event that I, a terminally ill cancer patient, have a medical emergency, that the police department, who is usually first on scene, would simply stand by and fail to do anything. Heaven forbid my family have an emergency after I'm gone. On 11/1/2022, I signed a separation agreement that barred both sides from publicly disparaging the other. City attorney and city administrator, I asked for a meeting with you to discuss the multiple documented violations of the signed contract by this city, her staff, and the Godley Police Department. Since my departure from the department, I have made every attempt to avoid negative interactions with the department or with the city. Again, this has not been the case from the city or some of the police officers, and the reason I asked to be invited back to give my statement to you members. I also asked that it be done without either officer present. I will explain my reasoning as soon as we are secured behind closed doors. The citizens have much to worry about, and even more so if this council continues the path it is on, and not removing the black cloud that remains above us more than a year later. Do not allow the attorney for either officer, who is probably here tonight, scare you from doing from the right thing to do. Stand firm on what is right, and the city will stand with you. I look forward to the opportunity to speak with you later this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next person is Nova Olson. You have 5 minutes.
Council, you have been presented time and time again with information that should have signaled an investigation of some Godley police officers. A city councilwoman who acted in her official capacity after seeking advice on what she should do and acted in good faith was arrested and spent time in jail. She suffered ongoing consequences, though the charges against her were not pursued by the county, including losing an important job opportunity because of accusations. Not a conviction, mind you, accusations. However, though a myriad of credible information has been presented to this city about corrupt behavior by its officers, nothing has been done to date. Police officers are here to protect and serve. They are to be conducting themselves honorably and professionally. Why was a councilwoman arrested for simply writing a document, but police officers aren't even investigated when evidence of corruption has clearly been presented to this council time and time again? So I'm asking you to stop this nonsense and at least do an investigation of credible information that's presented. Corruption is going to absolutely destroy this city if it's not stopped and these people are held accountable.
Thank you, Ms. Olson.
Next, we'll have Jennifer Thompson.
I'm actually going to let my phone do my talking for me.
Jennifer Thompson. I can know you right now. I'm driving right now on the road. What's necessary to get so that your work email deleted and delete the trash and work this trash too as soon as possible. What's going on? Delete email when you're talking to anything else. That's it. You got it. Alright. Talk to you.
All first. When you want to overload them, that's what they're there for. I'm just trying to figure out how we just shoot back to the crack area and don't get too long. Because don't be born for crack areas. If you don't have enough for you to perform. Because if you use the money, take more off the money. Because just specific people need good healthy living, but if people need to get good healthy living. There you go.
I commend Giles for what he's saying.
I know that, man. That's why they've given you, a family done. Okay, I can see this down coming in that's waiting, and I want you to know I'm there with you. Okay, they're not hard. I get that, and they can talk. I get that too. But they ain't got hard. I understand the stress and the pressures you're under. I get that, and we're going to go out there. We're going to look for bad people. How do we do them? Okay, we do that every day. Well, we're going to do the right thing, and that's what that's what it's just because someone made a bad choice. At this point in time or whatever, you still got to make the right choice and based on the challenge of everything, sure to make the best choice and put down that finish. So basically, the idea that I'm getting is if you can take them to do it, and for anything, that's the bottom end of it. I understand. And you're not wrong with this. I'll get into it. Been told before that someone can't get out of training until they make an arrest, which is not a good thing. Okay? You cannot put the onus on, well, you just start it off training. You never start training because you're making that person really pound the pavement to make the rest of it. That's not right. Yes, so basically the precedent that I'm getting, the vibe that I'm getting, is that basically you need to find somebody that you can, not that you should, that you can arrest him and arrest them, because that's what we want you to do.
Now, transparency and having qualified for a position? No. They didn't do that. Michael has no degree. He has an IT certificate from Google. And a media signature. How do you know you was signature? It's only Missy and Michael told me that they was going to make him signature so they can move on. I said, well, you're going to make a guy who's been sustained for sexual harassment signature? He said, police are good. I Canada. Yeah, there's no health possession is stopping crack health. Why don't you speak about this? Yeah, I can speak, but this, like I said, before you told me, so I'm going to say it. This is an issue. Just had Stephanie, a bunch of people coming. Is that the audience? Oh, really? Yeah. Wow. I got about 40 people from Godley coming. Wow. That's going to run them out. I told Michael, I told everybody, if they want a war, there'll be a war of over annually about 15 to 20 complaints about how corrupt everything is here. Now we all should be fired. There's random people wanting to live here. I've got one person who can't
So people outside of Godley is seeing this.
Just this is what we do on everybody. Yeah, yes. These idiots.
Council, you're idiots.
Which I got personally there because it's to the point where they just they come in and see my shit happen. This place is going to go to the
comes, which is in May, we'll tell you your best bet. Because if Scott Galbraith wins the election, and so does Roger Hilton, this town's going to go to fuck.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Wow.
Our last person is Greg Cooper. I'm sorry, last person is Greg Cooper. You have 5 minutes, sir. I'll let you know in a minute.
Appreciate it.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Again, I want to thank you for serving and volunteering your time to manage Godley. It's been going through many growing pains, and I applaud you for putting yourself and your families in the situations that in a town as polarizing as Godley creates a lot of uncomfortableness and often requires really hard decisions. Today's meeting will not be a fun one. It will come with criticisms and anger from some, praise and happiness from others. Reality is all that's bad. None of these decisions should be based in any way on whose side someone is on, who someone is aligned with, who is doing whose bidding, how long someone has lived here in Godley, or any kind of other subjective thing that creeps into the decision-making process all too often. These decisions should be made based off the facts, rules, regulations, general orders, ordinances, and laws of the city. You've heard the audio tape, some were played tonight. Am I wrong in saying the police leadership drives wedges in the department, the town, their subordinates, effectively providing poor mentorship for all the young officers, the impressionable officers, the ones hiring right out of the academy? They deserve quality, integrity-based, honor-based leadership and mentorship to learn from as their careers progress. Am I wrong in saying that Godley citizens are looked at, discussed, being treated differently based on who they side with or align with? Your police leadership was discussing which businesses in town are supported and who those businesses hate, and championing that. Am I wrong in saying internal investigations are conducted very poorly, outcomes are manipulated, even when a crime was committed? That's what the tapes show. Am I wrong in saying Godley police leadership encourages arrests differently made? I'll let that one go. Ms. Thompson played that on recording. Most concerning is the blatant disregard for human life with Chief Cantrell regarding Narcan. That's a life-saving drug. Fentanyl is one of the biggest crises in this country. And to even remotely even discuss any way where you would not administer to that somebody overdosing and calling them a crackhead, that's your leadership. That filters down. Godley Police General Orders defines, they mandate expectations. Here's just a few of those. Godley police must display the integrity required to protect and serve, deception, oppression, and intimidation. Godley police must be honest in thought and deed, both personally and professionally, and be exemplary in obeying the laws and regulations in the land of the city. Godley police must never permit personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence decisions. These are their general rules. These aren't mine. I'm not making them up. The Godley police badge, the city patch on their sleeve, is a symbol of public faith. It depicts the public trusting the police to be true ethically and morally. Godley police must be held to the highest standards, moral, ethical, and social conduct. These are, again, their general orders. Godley police must keep their private lives unsullied and must not bring discredit to themselves or the department. I won't go into the vulgar sexual acts that are discussed between men and women, police department on department time while being paid by the taxpayers of this city. Everybody knows how this city feels about sexual allegations. Half the town came out and went against this man over one. Well, now we've heard it on tape by the police, who some of them made those allegations. Thank you. The general orders define core values: service, taking care of Godley by delivering professional, helpful, high-quality service which is competent, compassionate, personalized, and prompt. Accountability, requires effectively delivering exemplary services in a transparent manner. Integrity, character that is honest, fair, trustworthy, and open, free of misconduct and unethical behavior. Respect, engaging in action that recognizes people have different values, behaviors, approaches to life, and cultural backgrounds. And teamwork, maintaining a collaborative working relationship between a law enforcement and the community to protect and serve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper.
We'll be moving on to mayor and council reports, presentations, and we'll be moving on to mayor and council reports, presentations, and proclamations. We have none. We'll be moving on to the consent agenda. We've all had a chance to read the corrected minutes. Is there any revisions or comments on that?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on January 2nd.
Second.
Councilmember Yarborough made a motion to approve the minutes, seconded by Councilperson Rodriguez. Any further discussion? Councilperson Yarborough.
Aye.
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 Motion carried 5-0 to approve the minutes. Now we move on to departmental and city administrative reports.
Mine's not in here. Mine's not in here, you'll get it tomorrow. I'm still working with the CPA. She came back today. We have some tweaking to do on some of the year-end numbers. I wanted to make sure I have some stuff to put on there for you. So I'll probably send those out to you tomorrow, once we're finished.
Is our auditing, RFP about to close?
Yes, ma'am, it's due on the 18th at 5 o'clock. I sent out 3 that I knew, and one of those did decline because they're right in the middle of several other audits. I haven't heard from any of the others yet, so we'll wait and see what we get.
Police Department President.
Police Department, give
Police Department.
Account for December, we had a total of 224 calls. We had a total of 8 arrests made, 8 cases filed. Total of $600 in damages or stolen property. Some of those arrests were drug offenses. A couple of those were assaults, family violence, assaults, public intox. One of the suspicious vehicles ended up leading into arrest, and then a warrant for somebody who had a felony warrant for their arrest. We had a total of 15 city ordinance violations, just some basics. Most of them got fixed when they were presented with a warning, which is a green tag we put out on their doorstep, so they know, hey, this is a violation, please get it done within 10 days, and pretty much everyone is compelled to doing it. Total of 211 offenses, 60 citations, 181 warnings. That's it.
Any questions?
There's 11 others. There's 7 others.
Others, unfortunately, they're not lit. We don't have, how this is laid out. Others are just type of contacts that it's not a PR contact, it's, how they're listed in the, spreadsheet that we have. Unfortunately, we don't have a tab exactly for that tab. So otherwise we'd have about 300-400 tabs.
Anything else? Thank you, sir. Chief Thompson?
Mayor and council. Fire department had 118 calls for the month of December. 11 of those were fire calls. $71, sorry, I'm reading off my phone. Medical costs, it's okay. One of the things I was wanting to report to you for the year annually, we ran 1,466 calls, and I'm still working on that, finalizing that report so I can bring that to you. Breakdown with fire, medical, hazmat, those different various calls. Entertain any questions?
What kind of hazmat problem were they?
The hazmat calls are typically fuel spills at a gas station, that type of call. We haven't had anything that I can recall in December that was, a serious hazmat or, gas leakage. Sometimes if the natural gas leak, sometimes will get labeled as a hazmat, but most of the time it's fuel spills, that type of thing.
You said calls to gas stations, somebody refills their car over.
Yeah, spill 15 gallons of gas or diesel around.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Chief.
Sure. Appreciate it.
Good evening, council. Good evening, citizen. The month of December, we did approximately 250 locates. Water, we're continuing to change out water meters. We have now got it down to less than 20 left to change, and with a total of about 125 to change. So we made big time headway. We had a couple of water line breaks in December due to infrastructure getting old and just outdated. Sewer, we're continuing to flush and pressure clean sewer lines. The bullseye plan is about a week away from being ready. The package plant, we're waiting for the backup generator for it to be ready. It's been pushed back now to February. The heavy rainfall that we had in December has helped with the plant, or has helped and hurt our process and numbers. We have been contacted by TCQ compliance about having a few violations. Some go back to February before I was here, and some are for the high ammonia due to the blowers going out. Y'all authorized us to put that one blower on. A week or 2 weeks later, it blew the bearing. We have contacted a contractor company about coming and putting in an aeration system to help fix our ammonia issue. That'll save us about $15,000 to $20,000 by putting in the aeration system compared to by purchasing another blower. We've not received a letter or email yet from TCQ about it, so I don't have a whole lot of details. We just got a phone call about it. The park, as soon as it dries up, we will be taking down the Christmas tree. We don't want to run up the park trying to get the Christmas tree out. Streets, we have started filling some of the potholes in the worst areas. We are in a hold right now waiting for more rock asphalt to be delivered so we can continue on. I did provide y'all with a list of work orders that were closed out in the month of December.
Is there not a warranty on the new blower?
No, ma'am, it wasn't a new blower. It was an older blower that we already had that we had hooked up, so we had no warranty on it.
Could you also address the issue that came out on social media about the bathrooms at the park? Would you like to go over that and discuss that?
The bathrooms at the park have been tore up. We go out there once a week to get them cleaned up. Well, as soon as we got notified about it, our crew went out there and got them cleaned up. If any of that happens, can anybody just please put a work order in on iWorks or call my cell phone or call City Hall? That's the way we need to find out about it instead of it being put out on social media. Other than that, we close down the bathrooms at the park until tomorrow after we come above freezing. And that is to help prevent more line breaks like what we've had in the past year, 2 years. So we're trying to help save the taxpayers money on not having more repairs done.
One of the things that were brought up in the comment section from someone at the city was that we currently have toilet paper containers to put the toilet paper in. Are those planning on being installed anytime?
They've already been installed. We just got the toilet paper in for those holders. Was it Friday, I believe? I believe we got toilet paper in on Friday. So tomorrow, whenever it gets reopened, those toilet paper rolls will be in those dispensers. And for anybody to go in and take a whole roll and put it in the toilet again, they can't do that. They'll have to sit there and unroll it.
Thank you for addressing that.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a possible about getting a sign? If you see this restroom in an unsatisfactory, call, put the city number down?
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything like that for now?
I could have a sign made up for it. Put it on each door of each restroom.
Or even a link to the recording.
Yes, I could have the iWorks link on it as well. Maybe even be able to print out an IQ code to where they could just take a picture and go send them right to the website.
That way it won't, you don't have to wait till you get there or somebody complains about it. So somebody sees it, they have the opportunity to help us out.
Yes, sir.
Put in the document protector and seal it and hang it up there.
So currently those bathrooms are on schedule for once a week cleaning?
Correct.
Is it more in the summer or that's just because of now?
That's just because of now. In the summer, we'll move to at least 2, maybe even 3 days a week. Depends on how much activity is going on at the park. So if it's a rainy week, we'll move to just 2. If it's a busy, sunshiny day, week-wise, we'll move it to about 3 times a week.
I'll leave that to you. That's good.
Yes, sir. Any other questions, council? Thank you all.
Thanks, sir. At 7:26 p.m., a closed meeting in the city of Godley, Texas will now be held pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, section 551.074, for items 10.4, personnel matters, appointment, evaluation, reassignment, discipline, or dismissal of public officer, Director Michael Pappas, and personnel matters, appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of public officer, Police Chief Matthew Cantrell and Police Sergeant Jeremy Arbuthnot. Seven 26.
Oh, I'm good with it. You know, I'm not the IT person, I'm a favorite system.
We're We're reconvening from executive session at 8:40. Again. And closed meeting of the City of Godley, Texas will not be held pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Section 551.074. Agenda item 10.4, personnel matters, appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of public officer. Police Chief Matthew Cantrell and Police Sergeant Jeremy Arbuthnot. Do you guys wish for open session, for closed session? Do you guys, individual, together, what? The regular session is now technically closed. The City Council is convening the executive session at 8:40 on January 16th, 2024.
Just let me know you said upstairs.
I knew there was one with there somewhere. It was this close. Twin four.
Oh, here, sorry.
No.
Let the record show we left executive session at 9:02, no actions were taken, and we are reconvening the open session at 9:49. Moving on to item 11, action for executive session, section 551.04. Personnel matters, appointment, employment, evaluations, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of public officer during the 10-month appendix. No actions taken. Section 551.074, personnel matters, discussion and possible action on the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of public officer, Police Chief Matthew Cantrell and Police Sergeant Jeremy Arbuthnot.
I'd like to make a motion. The motion is to have a third party investigate the audio recordings and to direct the city administrator to use any and all resources for the investigation to be completed in a more timely manner.
I'll second that motion.
Councilperson Wise made a motion. Councilperson Rodriguez, second motion to have third party investigate the audio recordings, direct staff, city administrator to use any and all resources for the investigation. Is there any discussion?
Along with that is, investigation on all complaints that have been put through properly to also be investigated, during that time.
That is, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, that is currently what Ms. Wink was investigating, is all the proper.
Yes, that's already in order.
Complaints.
We just want to put it out there, we are actually doing it.
Yes, sir. Any other discussion? Moving on to votes. Councilperson Yarborough.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0 to have third party investigate the audio recordings, direct staff, city administrator use any and all resources for the investigation on properly submitted complaints.
Mayor, I would like to move item E forward so we can go home.
We'll move on to item E, receive a presentation from Jennifer Vanderway, Director of CFM. Discussion take possible action to approve amendment to the interlocal agreement between the County of Johnson and the City of Godley regarding jurisdiction and plat approval and the city's strategic.
Mayor, Council, thank you for having me. I know that we have visited about this before, so some of you are familiar and some of you are new, so you can have questions. Currently, there is an interlocal agreement between the City of Godley and Johnson County as to who handles the platting in the extraterritorial jurisdiction, the ETJ. I'm proposing that we amend that and return the platting authority in that area back to Johnson County. What questions do you have about that?
How have the most recent interactions between the city and the county been in the last few months?
They are better. I will say that there have not been very many plats sent to me. I don't know how many have been applied for in Godley's ETJ, but I have received some, and I've worked with your city administrator. Commissioner Bailey and I also met with your city attorney and the administrator to discuss some of these things.
So it's better.
Yes. The previous issues still exist. Some of those have still not been cleared up.
From way back in 22? Or?
Yes, some 23, some 22. But I know that you have a different firm on contract now to review your plats. Is that correct?
So it's an engineering issue that we're, because I'm not sure.
There have been engineering issues. There have been issues with the plats that have been approved that they're not inspected.
Okay.
So there's not been enforcement of what subdivision rules you do have in the ETJ.
But that's stopped now, correct?
No, I cannot say that part has stopped.
The inspection?
That has not stopped. There is no one, to my knowledge, that is inspecting subdivisions that the city has approved in the ETJ.
Fair enough. But we are getting the plats correct, at least.
I have received a few plats. Now, if that is all of the plats that have been submitted in the ETJ, I don't know what I might not be getting. I know that there was some overlap between Mr. Pappas who sent me some, and then you didn't have some staff for a little bit. And
What do
then
you
now
know?
there's a city administrator.
Anything? I apologize.
As of now, there are some plats that we are working on, but once again, we're running into the same problem where things are missing from the previous engineer. I have worked on one project that I am working on, that I've spoken with legal with Jennifer, that is in the ETJ, because there is an issue with that. It looks like previously they were just writing letters to write off the ETJ properties when it came to like plating and stuff. So that was something that we were looking into. But I wasn't aware that I was supposed to send Jennifer anything.
I'm just asking if you knew anything about it. Did you get the stuff from Glenn that you were supposed to get?
I haven't got anything from Glenn today. I'll follow up tomorrow. And I don't know if maybe he may have reached out to TMP to submit that information as well.
Well, I thought last I understood you were gonna contact him and have some.
I contacted him this weekend and he said that he would provide the information on multiple projects.
He hasn't sent it over.
If he may have sent it to, was it Andrew Luce?
They haven't heard anything good.
Okay, let me follow up with him.
And the engineering firm here, we have one now that's looking at the plat.
Yes, so we're having to go back and look at plats that were partially maybe previously approved or had partial improvements, because there were things that the new engineer seen that, clearly were red flags for him, like floodplain, just a bunch of different things that need to be taken care of that we don't even have documentation that the previous engineer did take care of. So we're having to go back, and it's taking us a longer period of time.
And will they do inspections when it comes to that point?
So he's gonna make a checklist on everything that's required. We are gonna meet with the third-party inspectors to see exactly what they're doing when it comes to the inspection side, what has been done previously, and reviewing the contract that we have with them to make sure that things are being done adequately. Because there's just a gap in information that we just don't know. It's a bunch of research.
But it's not failure of the city, it's failure of the compliance of the planning process that we're getting information.
Well, so what you're gonna have now, because new laws have gone into effect, is if you don't have your plat regulations online right now, then you probably don't have any real regulations at all within 2 years. So what you need to do is you need to get your plat regulations online for the world to see, and then that way, when these plats are submitted, they understand what regulations are applicable, and also the shop clock that you'll have to approve those.
And those are currently not on there.
Well, we have the planning subdivision online on the website.
Okay, have they been updated? I guess that's the, have they been updated since, okay.
They were updated whenever Chris had passed it.
Yeah, we did it this summer, right? The updates?
We did a little bit of updates, but the majority of the file is from 2021 when I was sure.
So we need TMP to look at updating that.
We're working on getting that together as far as like the planning process, planning procedures. That's also gonna play a role in us looking at getting into the zoning, now that we're gonna be done with the comprehensive plan, because that's something that's major. That's gonna hold up a lot of stuff.
So there's.
Well, it won't hold up what's in the ETJ.
Not in the ETJ, in the city limits.
So you also had some confusion with some agenda items, just the way they were worded in the past, and what you were getting was petitions to be included into the ETJ. But previously, this is before we came on, the agenda item read that we were annexing, and that was incorrect. So it's been, so I sent those to Jennifer. I don't know if that cleared it up. I think it did, at least.
It did clear it up on Mr. Self's property, because that was the one you sent me his petition, but never an ordinance or anything the city adopted yet, which is the same thing that we ran into with Hawkins Airport, that the city approved the plat, and it wasn't in the ETJ. The Cornerstone plat got approved, it's not in Godley's ETJ. So there's just been a history of things that the council has approved, whether that was because it was misrepresented by other staff members or by the engineer. And now you have the change to the legislation as it affects the ETJ, people can petition to be released. So since we last spoke, even the city of Cleveland has returned platting authority in the extraterritorial jurisdiction to protect their ETJ, so that you don't have developers and property owners petitioning to be released from the ETJ solely to circumvent your platting requirements, because then they have to meet the county's requirements. So some cities have considered returning the platting authority, like Cleveland and about half of the other cities, to protect your ETJ.
But what's the point of protecting it, because we're not gonna annex it?
Some cities feel like legislation may change in favor of annexation.
You also have a group of cities that have challenged this law. That's aggregating your legislative power. So there is also the option to join in those lawsuits.
And to defend the ETJ. authority.
if the court's finding favorable. So the battle's not over. I mean, there are lots of different ways to do this. But I understand Cleveland has done exactly what she said.
Yes, Cleveland has returned the plating authority. There are a few other cities that are still reviewing it, but at least half of the cities in the county have returned the plating authority. Again, I know we've addressed this before, and so some of this is not new. Your engineering costs are a pass-through cost to your applicants. Otherwise, it's a liability on the city and an expense to the city that you have city staff that are reviewing plats, reviewing paperwork, processing things. Everyone who asks for a plat exemption letter in the ETJ just so they can get permits, that's manpower you're paying for, time they are spending reviewing these things on properties that you don't receive property taxes on.
And what does the county benefit from you coming here making this argument, asking us to give us our amendment to give it to you?
Sure, it's consistency in the requirements. If Johnson County has the plating authority, then the developers in Godley's ETJ will have to meet the same requirements that everyone else that's within that plating authority. It also removes liability on the floodplain. It removes liability that the city may have administratively approved some plats previously that didn't get reviewed, preliminary plats that didn't get proper approval or proper review. Anything that would be in process with the city now that's already received preliminary approval is vested with the city. You would still finish those plats. But anything new, your staff wouldn't have to deal with. You don't have to pay a contractor to review those things. You don't have that liability. It's something we do at the county every day, and we're set up to do it, and that's what we're there for. So we're just offering to help you, asking to help in the consistent requirements that you sign the agreement and allow the county to take care of it.
Theoretically, if we just mirrored your requirements, then we would do that and still receive the money for plating fees, et cetera, wouldn't we?
Depends on how much you're paying for an engineer. Again, that's a pass-through cost, not necessarily a money-making endeavor for the city.
No, I get you, but other fees are. Or has that been taken away as well?
No, it hasn't been taken away.
And if your concern is consistency and not the money end of it, like Councilmember here said, if we mirror and we look through what your requirements are and we redo ours and bring it up to standard, then you guys should be relieved because now we're meeting your requirements and there shouldn't be an issue.
Well, that's what we talked about last year, and council never voted to amend the subdivision rules, never added inspections. I mean,
right.
And I said we've talked about this so many times now, and I've not seen a change. So I'm asking the council to do the right thing by your city property taxpayers and the liability that you're taking on when you're not making any changes that are affecting and making these situations better.
Right, well, we have a new council and we have new staff and a new engineering firm, so I would like to make a motion that we do not accept the amendment to the interlocal agreement. We keep it as is, and the city should keep our control in the ETJ. And what we can. That's a motion.
I have a motion.
I'll second that. I'm interested in finding out how much money we're going to lose.
I have a motion by Councilperson Rodriguez and a second by Councilperson Yarborough to not approve the amendment for the interlocal agreement between the County of Johnson and the City of Godley regarding jurisdiction plat approval for the city's ETJ. Is there further discussion?
I got asked before to try to get our ETJ to match the counties, and I don't remember, apparently it was just too hard, too much stuff to do, very time consuming. It's not a matter of just going ours away and voting theirs in, which I don't see why it shouldn't be.
I agree.
Some of ours are more restricted than theirs, some of theirs are more restricted.
I don't know what's the most restrictive what. For the most part, I think ours have always been whatever anybody wants, they can dang well do. You want 500 exemptions? All right, you can have 500 exemptions.
Well, we're hoping now with the new city administrator and the staff we have, engineering, that all that will be one of the processes that are taken care of.
Can we, whether we vote to do this or not, depending on our vote, we can revisit you at a later date. We can bring this back up if we need to.
You can bring it back up anytime you like.
So they can petition to remove themselves from our ETJ, from the bill. Can they do that same thing to a county? I know it affects counties and cities differently sometimes.
There's no way to be removed from the unincorporated part of the county.
No, they don't have an ETJ in the county.
So when you said the Cleaver did it to maintain their ETJ, so all those properties will be maintained in our ETJ, they can no longer pull out.
It doesn't mean that they couldn't petition to be released from the ETJ, but what's in my purview is the plating, and if the plating rights go back to the county, then I don't know what purpose it necessarily serves to be released from the ETJ. If the plating rights are going to be, if the plating requirements are going to be the same either way. There may be some other aspect that I'm not aware of, but as far as plating, if the plating rights belong to the county, then they're going to have to meet the county's requirements either way.
Well, I want to investigate the money. We're going to get enough income from this to cover our costs, because we have it in the past. It's just
blown in the past, I'm not sure, frankly, but we have professionals now, maybe happening, I don't know. I'm looking.
Have we increased our fees? I know we talked about that too. Have we done that?
No. The fee schedule hasn't gone up yet.
Why?
It's gonna take time.
It's being reviewed, it is not.
Do what?
It's being reviewed, because when we're reviewing it this time, it's doing it all as one, not piecemealing the fee schedule.
And all the studying that I did, I'll give over to them to continue that. So they do have that all the information that I was able to collect.
So, stupid question here. If the whole point, if the logic is we give back planning authority so that the property owner doesn't leave the ETJ, then we don't get any of the fees for anything or at all. What do we gain from having that property in the ETJ?
If eventually
Annex.
if eventually they ask to come in or laws passed that we can annex, then they are meeting our regulations. But if we get it out and we get it out of our ETJ, then.
The point though is, what's the point of even having a property in the ETJ?
We make money whenever they build, because.
Not if we give them the planning authority back.
Yes, but if we keep the planning authority, we charge per lot.
I get you.
And Michelle changed it over the last couple of months. They'll charge it.
There are lot thresholds on the fees.
I mean, it's very minimal. I know I've talked to some people down there, and hopefully increase them, but, we charge, I think it's $500 a lot.
I get you. What I was trying to figure out was the argument that you seem to make the argument that if you give us back, meaning you, the county, the authority for planning, then people will be less likely to release themselves from the ETJ. Is that correct? Is that a misstatement or is that?
I'm saying as far as plating is concerned, it serves no purpose to be removed from the ETJ. If removing yourself from the ETJ is an extra step to meet the exact same requirements if I had the plating authority in your ETJ already.
Right. So in other words, you're saying in another way that property owners will probably not want to remove themselves from the ETJ. That's if we give the plating authority.
Some cities have looked at that to protect their ETJ.
Why would I care about protecting the ETJ except for maybe a future annexation and zoning in the future? Okay. And if it's not in the ETJ, then there's no opportunity to do that unless they ask, which they have to ask in the first place anyway, regardless, right?
Yeah, so it has to be contiguous.
Right.
And they ask, they petition, they ask.
I think it can.
What's the county's position on mud districts and sub-districts and the other special utility districts that come up?
The county's position is if they meet our requirements, then they have the right to be approved just like any other developer that meets the requirements. But those special districts do still have plating and permit requirements.
Question on that mud district. In the law, as far as I know, maybe this is just for municipalities, maybe not the county, but the law that I've read, and of course I know what it all says, if you first go to a municipality, the municipality says, nope, we can't give you water or sewer or both. And then you can say, okay, then you apply to GCEQ for the mud district. There's no place in the county where, well, I guess there are, but for the most part, you guys serve water everywhere, right?
If you're speaking about Johnson County Special Utility District, that is a utility provider that is not Johnson County government. They're two separate entities.
But you have water in the county, is what I'm saying. So are the rules for building in mud the same? They go to you and you say, oh, I can't give you water.
Johnson County government is not a utility provider though. We do not give people water. Either there is a provider like Johnson County Special Utility District, or you have a well.
If that water utility exists, then the only thing that would be left is wastewater. Obviously, they're not going to have it out there.
There are special districts that apply to TCEQ for wastewater treatment plant permit. Yes, then they have sewer treatment plants.
Any further discussion?
I'd like staff to come up with a plan, tell us how much money we're making and losing off of the current situation. Because we're making money, maybe we might change my mind. If we're losing money, I'm ready to give it to the county. You know, we've known about this for a year, and we haven't raised the rates for anybody, so I don't understand that either. I'd like to.
Cost benefit analysis would be nice.
Maybe that's what you call it.
I'd also like an estimate from Angie on how much time it's going to take her to fix these problems, and to mirror the requirements and catch up the backlog, as well as handle anything new that comes in. We may be overwhelming our own stuff.
Just the plat exemption letters alone, anyone in the ETJ that comes to the county and applies for a permit, if they're in the ETJ, they have to contact your staff to ask for plat instructions or an exemption letter. So your staff has to write a letter for every person in the ETJ that comes and applies for permits before my department can give them permits. So it's a considerable number.
It is.
How much time do you think you're spending on that?
The research alone, because you have to research to figure out what's going on with this property, any background information that is not just readily available. On top of the plats that we already have for the brand new subdivisions, I'm handling planning and zoning, not saying that Angie doesn't, but she has so many other things that she's trying to change. It's a lot, and there's already so many developments. I have about 8 already, not including the one that I just had to start dealing with. For Johnson County, because they won't allow them to have any utilities or anything. But I don't have background information, so I'm spending a lot of time researching.
So if we keep doing this, we basically need to hire somebody else to take care of it.
Even if you hire the permit clerk, planning and zoning might not be something that they jump right into. It's a lot more tedious than you just scanning in an application and sending it off to the third party. There's meetings, there's things you're requesting, there's time limits that you have to meet legally. It's a lot.
But we have in the budget what we approved for that position. So am I correct in saying when I spoke to Angie, we're working on hiring someone because the money's there.
No, we are. It's trying to catch up the old stuff with the new stuff and still trying to figure out how to bring somebody on top of dealing with all the other issues that come in on top of your daily stuff. So you're playing catch up, daily stuff, and then whatever else hits you from everything else that still needs to be fixed.
How many days is it to take this jurisdiction back if we gave it to you?
You could sign an agreement tonight and my court could sign it on Monday. And then your staff would only have to deal with any plats that have previously been applied for to the city.
But then if we wanted it back.
If you wanted to take it back, then we just revisit this and it's another amended agreement.
But you don't have to agree to it.
Yeah, if you agree to it.
I mean, it's the same relationship that we're in right now.
Right. You could say no.
Yeah.
What about
The
an
court
option?
could,
Is
I'm
there-
not the one that gets to make that decision.
It'd be the commissioner's honor.
Right.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is it doesn't have to. They don't have to agree. Is there an option, maybe option? Can we give you the option for a particular development to be platted rather than the city?
It's all or nothing. We can't pick and choose which ones you want to approve and which ones you want the county to approve.
Any further discussion? So correct me if I'm wrong, since they want to add guidance, we gotta nay the vote, so we can make the motion again with the extra guidance.
The guidance being, for
Cost benefit
PNG.
analysis and for city admin to do analysis on how long it would take to.
I think the question then is, do you want to take action tonight on the original motion with staff direction? I mean, staff understands that's what they need to do. Does that impact the original motion at all? Is it an amendment?
Okay, so you're saying we don't need to. She's heard it. She knows what needs to happen. She can just read that out. Okay.
And if Angie's watching from home, she knows. She's got the direction.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to not approve the amendment for the interlocal agreement between the County of Johnson and the City of Godley regarding jurisdiction and plat approval in the city of ETJ. Councilmember Yarborough?
Aye.
Aye. No.
Right now.
The motion carries to not approve the amendment to the interlocal agreement between the County of Johnson and the City of Godley regarding jurisdiction and plat approval in the city of ETJ, which we voted for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to item A, discussion take possible action on deadline for agenda items. The staff had requested that we, any agenda items we're submitting, be submitted by close of business on Tuesday. And some questions about that. This solely allows the staff to do the research and legal to approve it and to be able to publish the books where we're not having to stay late. We're late nights trying to get this stuff done.
Is this the same one we've already approved, or is it different?
Now, there was no, to my knowledge, there was not any suspense for.
I just sent an email.
I sent an email
asking for it.
I know, but we've already approved this, so it had to be done like Tuesday the week before. We've already had that discussion and did that. I understand she does, you don't know it, but we already done this.
That was me that put it on there because there was some pushback to it, but since it's already been approved, then.
There was no ordinance or resolution, just like a lot of things that were done previously.
If it was a minute approval, it would still be the current operating policy, correct?
Yes. If you want to do it again, you can do it again.
Do it again, let's get it done. Because she doesn't, we need to get this stuff on a certain day. We have a total agenda. Stephanie went through that. Well, Stephanie didn't, but the other lady, they went through that until right the last minute. She had to come back and redo everything. So now we need to have a date and stick by it. What date did you come up with?
Tuesday close of business. That gives them a week to, or actually gives them until Friday for them to put the books together, put the email together for legal review to ensure everything meets the requirements for the agenda, and then be able to do the books and have them out Friday.
Okay. If I can find that page, I'll tell you. No, there's nothing on it. I make a motion that everything pertaining to the next meeting be given to the city secretary the Tuesday before the next meeting, by close of business that day.
I'll second.
Is that just for one meeting or?
Forever, ever, and ever.
I'm putting mine since I had two at the same time. Motion on the floor made by Councilperson Williamson, seconded by Councilmember Mize to set the deadline for submission of agenda items to be Tuesday, the week prior by close of business.
Week prior or
Week prior to
2 days prior?
If the meeting's on Tuesday, your submission need to be Tuesday prior. Any further?
We've got 2 meetings a month now, so, okay.
Any further discussion? Councilperson Yarborough?
Aye.
Motion passes to submit all agenda items by Tuesday prior to the meeting, close of business to the city staff. Item B is discuss take possible action on training for city council members. I disapproved a training request. There's some disagreement with it. So what I'm proposing to do is, since the Commissioner's Court was used as a reference for earlier actions, if you look in the back where it's highlighted for training seminars, the Commissioner's Court puts all the training on there, so that in the future, if I disapprove, it gives the council or any future mayor, the council, the ability to go to approve it after that. I want to mirror on our consent agendas that if somebody submits for training, that for the council, since that is under the mayor's purview to approve or disapprove, that if it's disapproved and the council member is not happy with it, the council can vote to go the opposite way and approve the training.
So this is just an example.
This is just an example, since the Commissioner's Court was a reference for other things in the past. This is how they do their business.
Where is this, the mayor's purview? Is that in the handbook?
Yes. And Dean told Angie that she was not in the proper position to approve or disapprove the council member's request for training.
So you're just not bringing to us to make a decision on the training class requested, but the actual how we're going to.
The training date passed, so this way in the future, if the mayor were to disagree with anything, a training item gives the council the ability to approve it.
So I'll make a motion that any training for any city council members be placed on agenda for city council prior
to training.
Sure.
A motion by Councilmember Rodriguez and second by Councilmember Mize to approve putting any council members' training request on the consent agenda for future agendas.
So are we just negating the handbook that says you can approve or deny, or you're going to approve, deny, and then we'll decide?
If you guys disagree, or if the individual disagrees with that decision, then they bring it to the council. That just gives a check to whoever the mayor is in the decision.
So why not just do like what they do and just go to commissioners or council?
Just do the same thing almost.
Yeah.
Could you repeat that? What do you do?
So like what the commissioners does, they put all their training requests on there. Well, how we're gonna do it initially, and vote as it goes to the mayor. And if the council member doesn't like this decision, then it goes to council. Why not just go straight to council?
Because the handbook is in its purview to accept it or not.
So we can amend the handbook. If y'all want to bring it straight to the council, Mayor, then we'll take a look at this. I know Angie feel uncomfortable approving some of those, and understand that it was the budget 2,500 or what is there?
My understanding is the budget per seat is $2,500 a fiscal year. So.
So for now, you have a hamburger.
So we're looking for permission.
We got one on the floor, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah, we did currently have a motion and a second on the floor to approve that it goes on the consent agenda. The discussion item that why not Mr. Lee there out of it and make the council's purview. We want to go that route, we gotta close out the motion.
Then what? We update the handbook, reprint the handbook, et cetera. Does this just become a minute thing? I mean, a resolution, or what does this become if we just go ahead and take this instead?
Well, so just consider this. I mean, if everyone gets $2,500, you could have multiple council items for every single member many, many times. And so the mayor's could be a filter for resolving that, so you're not having to discuss it at every council meeting. So that, or Angie, or I mean, if you wanted to delegate that. So if you remember, the ordinance was passed that described the mayor's powers and also included a clause concerning policies and procedures. Right. So policies and procedures control as long as they exist. And we couldn't remove that because, I mean, otherwise you would do it with all your policies and procedures with the ordinance. So that was the savings clause for all of those existing procedures.
Sure.
To use myself as an example, my seat's up in May for re-election. So I think to be judicious and fair, I could not utilize the seat's money between now and May and not leave anything for a potential new mayor to be able to do the mandatory training. Fair. And that's what I'm looking at doing here is still making the decision, but if there's an appeal, it provides an appeal process.
Exactly. And so what you're saying is, with this, and that makes sense, we've got filters. And I'd be good with it, because it accomplishes the same thing, but the council may not have to deal with it every time. Yeah.
Any further discussion? Councilman Gerber?
Aye.
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 Motion is approved to put any training items for the council members on the consent agenda. Item C, discussion and take possible action on the adoption of ordinance 12-2023-106, the comprehensive plan.
She could not be here today.
Oh, it's fine.
So I think this one needs to be moved anyway, and let's make sure on record that we get a public hearing as well as a discussion action. And I know we've done that before. We had a special meeting, we did public hearing with the last one. So let's go ahead and put it on record as well, so that, yeah, so if you want to move it to the next agenda, now you have a public hearing.
What's the date for the next one? I'm sorry.
Six, yes.
Make a motion to postpone item C till the February 6th meeting.
Second. And have a public hearing.
And have a public hearing.
Can I have a second? No, a second.
Yes, ma'am. Have a motion by Councilmember Yarborough and a second by Councilmember Mize to postpone the action on the adoption of the ordinance 12-2023-106, the comprehensive plan, to February 6th and to add a public hearing to the agenda. Any further?
Yeah, one more. Is this still within Mosaic's money train, so to speak? Their contract? We got one any more money?
Did you hear that?
I think so. Did you
Oh,
say yes?
sorry. Yes, it still is. The only thing that wasn't included was that additional website.
There's too many times we keep doing this, she's gonna start charging us next. Not this time.
No.
It's too cold about it, for sure.
Any further discussion? Councilmember Yarborough?
Aye.
Motion passed to postpone the action on the adoption of ordinance 12-2023-106, the comprehensive plan, to February 6th, and to add a public hearing to the agenda. D, discussion to ratify the purchase of the F-150 animal control code enforcement vehicle.
I wanna know what happened here, so I wanna make a motion to postpone this item until the February 6th meeting.
I'll second that.
Please clarify what happened, because I don't know what's going on.
Give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
I have a motion by Councilmember Yarborough and a second by Councilmember Pappenfuss to postpone the discussion of the action on the purchase of the Ford F-150 and control code enforcement vehicle to the February 6th City Council meeting. Further discussion, sir?
Please clarify what you mean by what happened.
We never ratified this, but it got bought.
I remember that.
I wanna find out how that happened.
Okay. And what's the process of finding that out?
I think Angie can help.
Angie's looking into it. Because Angie needs help walking and she's looking into it.
I think she might have an answer.
She's there.
Any further discussion? Councilmember Yarborough?
Aye.
Motion passes to postpone the ratifying the purchase of the Ford F-150 and control code enforcement vehicle until February 6th agenda. Item F, discussion to take possible action on the economic development agreement between the City of Godley, Texas and Godley Ventures LLC, Article 1, definitions of terms, sales tax rebate, and Article 5, city commitments. E, payments of sales tax rebate, and E, payment of property tax rebate.
Okay, so I called the tax attorney for the county. We also talked to their EDC director, Angie did. So some of the confusion in the past is over tax abatement versus rebate. Okay? So there's a constitutional prohibition on pledging your ad valorem tax. Okay? And so one of the incentives involves ad valorem tax rebate. Okay, that means your tax is already received, it's in your coffers, or it's been remitted to you, and so they are already paying it. It's not an abatement. Abatement means that they don't pay. Instead, they're paying it, and then you'll pay it back that same amount. It doesn't have to come from ad valorem taxes when you do the rebate. That makes sense. So the contract could be more clear. I mean, we could, I probably would have drafted it I definitely would have drafted it that way. But the contract doesn't obligate you, doesn't pledge your ad valorem taxes. There's no constitutional violation as long as you're paying a fine or from some other funding source, and you're going to be filing as part of the record is concerned.
So bottom line, it's legal. Make the motion to approve item F in its entirety.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Councilmember Yarborough and a second by Councilmember Pappenfuss to approve item F in its entirety. Any further discussion? Councilmember Yarborough?
Aye.
Motion is passed 5-0. Going on to item G, discussion take possible action on approving resolution R-01-2024-04, amending section 3 and adding section 8 of the city's personnel handbook related to the accrual of the employee PTO and sick leave.
This was a discussion from earlier that Amy was talking about at the workshop, making those changes to add sick leave. Right now, there are no approvals until we fix this issue.
I also emailed Kara on Mayor Pro Tem's question, and she said no problem.
Need a motion to approve items in its entirety.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Yarborough, and a second by Councilmember Rodriguez to approve item G in its entirety. Is there any discussion? Councilmember Yarborough.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Item H, discussion take possible action approving ordinance 01-2024-107, amending section 155.08 of the city's code of ordinances to prohibit the use of the sign.
Need a motion to approve item H.
I have a motion by Councilmember Yarborough and a second by Councilmember Rodriguez to approve item H in its entirety. Further discussion.
How is this going to be enforced? Is there penalties for them up in there?
There's penalty clauses in the caption.
Section 4, section 2.
So our code enforcement officer will be the, whoever that is, will be the jurisdictional.
Future hires. So in this, it does not, the two questions I have, it says you cannot put a sign on your personal fence if you choose. Correct? I'll put you there. Because under prohibited signs under number A, it says any advertising sign, posted political advertisement, on label, bumper, sticker, or any other advertisement material whatsoever, on utility poles, trees, fences, fire hydrants, street lights, standards, traffic lights, standards, stop signs. So this, we're saying that I cannot put a sign on my fence if I choose. Is that enforceable? I think that's what it says.
So it's located in a public street, sidewalks, alleyways, easements, public property, facility, or any other public place in the city.
I think it's saying if you go to someone else's fence, is what it's saying, it's like considered public.
I thought it was on the municipal right of way, and only on municipal right of ways. The second whereas clause there, paragraph. Is that not true, Dean?
That's right.
All right, so it's just for municipalities that I can put a sign on my fence.
Yeah, so, I mean, is your fence located in the right of way?
Oh, no, so that would tear it down.
I hope not too, but sometimes.
Well, it shouldn't be there, it is.
It shouldn't be. Sometimes they might be in the side triangle. So you just never know, but so the list is meant to be comprehensive. But it says located in the public, streets, sidewalks. So public is modifying all of these words here.
My fence backs to a public street.
Backs to being the operative word, it's not on it.
Yeah, is it in the right of way though? I mean, sometimes it might be on an easement, public easement. So here's the list: streets, sidewalks, alleyways, easements, public property or facility, any other public place in the city. So these are all, this is things regulated in public areas that public means city control.
And then for political signs, it's still mirroring what the Texas textile requirement is. It's not. All right.
So people will still put up their political signs, maybe even on their fence, on their property, out of the right of way, out of public places.
All right. Any further discussion?
So since there's not a violation listed as the price tag, it refers back to 2099, is it up to this, so actually Do you charge them $5, $500?
Yeah, so it's not gonna be a zoning violation, other violations that go through the 2,000, so I think it would fit within the $500 limitation.
But will the judge decide?
Yes.
It's gonna be $5 or $500?
Yes.
So we're gonna ban the city right over here, we continue to direct staff to get your text button. Have the maybe it's something in the right way, or in the right way, where you'll be online.
Next, I'll do that, or draft code enforcement do that.
So that's not right, that's it.
Is that what the object is, to do some cleanup?
Previously, it was, you were working with TxDOT for us to have the legal line to do it. Has anything come of that?
I stopped communicating with them.
Okay. Any further discussion?
So here we are again, and that's a motion. You want, which is I think is a good idea, to have staff contact TxDOT and give them an opportunity to say, hey, can you get this stuff out of here? Okay.
Is that the teleconference that's tomorrow too with TxDOT, is that them? Would that be with them to discuss it? Or is that next week?
That's about the signs within the city right away, or the big stuff?
TxDOT, right?
Would that be discussed?
So that's our local engineer, the TxDOT, the old science division, TxDOT.
Any further discussion? Councilmember Rivera?
Aye.
Motion to adopt resolutions declaring passage by 0. I, discussion to take possible action on the adoption of the Safety and Accident Prevention Program Manual.
To have another workshop to review it more.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table the item, and we need to put it on a workshop or on
Yeah, another workshop.
Agreed? No action and then a workshop? With a
Yes.
workshop, okay.
Yeah, make a motion to take no action.
That's okay.
Have a motion by Councilmember Rodriguez and a second by Councilmember Mize to take no action on item I. Any further discussion? Councilmember? Motion is approved, take no action on item I by vote 5-0. We have no items of community interest on the schedule. Is there anything anyone has? Since we jumped down to the second, down here, I missed something. And have any further business, meetings adjourned at 10:44.